Hello, Carl W Design, and I've got another quick tutorial for you, hopefully very quick. This is working on the same idea that I've done in previous tutorials where I have these preset materials in my scene. I can just choose a color or I can change the color there. And they're a very simple shader setup. They're just light path going into the factor of a mixed shader, and I'm using emission so that whatever color I choose here will render. That's it, simple. Of course, under color management, make sure you're on default view transform and base contrast, and then you'll get, basically this is like Blender 2D. So we choose a color, it renders. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. First of all, let's make the square in the square pivot thingy. So I'm going to select these back and front faces, eye, and inset a little bit. Now there's this new quick favorites menu. I've put in some tools that I use quite frequently, so let's use this one, bridge edge loops. Okay, now A to select all, Shift D, and then S for scale. So Shift D for duplicate, S for scale, and that's how I make that sort of thing. If we go to the front view, you can see what we've got. Okay, let's move that over a little. No, let's leave it. Okay, so we need a few more things. We need backdrop. So I'm going to make a plane. I will G, Y to move that over, move it backwards a little bit. RX 90 to rotate that, and then scale. I always do scale 22, S22, enter, because it's all with your ring finger. Nice and easy. Okay, the background I will make white. It's the same sort of material. Okay, so it'll actually render white, and that is good. I'm going to move that back a little bit further. It can be back as far as you want. G, Y, it's still going to render just fine. If we go into my shading tab, and then I use my shortcut key for the camera, we can see that this is way too big. Scale it down. And yeah, I'm going to move things, I'm going to frame things up a bit. So that needs to be kind of down there. And that's good. Okay, so we need some text. I'm going to go Shift A, text. And this will need to be a nicer font. So let's choose something. I got some fonts recently. So if I go to time modified, yeah, here's this one, mask. I quite like that. Let's do something else. I did that in the other one, in the example. What else have I got recently? No. Oh, this one. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to RX 90 again. That will rotate up on the x-axis. We'll go back to our camera view and just make sure that's in a good spot. I'm going to move it right near, like really close to the text, like that. Sorry, really close to the box, like that. Now we can duplicate, Shift D, and then Y. I'm going to move it back. Okay, so just like in the example, I'll do square. So I'll just tab into edit mode and type. So this one was pivot. Okay, so they're behind each other, and now we're just missing, this is the technique, really, the plane. So RX 90, this will be the technique to hide them until we want them. Okay, so I'll move that into place, and what we do need actually is to put this square situation ahead of everything else. Okay, so now I will make this actually fully hide the text. Okay, now if I'm going to duplicate that, and on the y-axis I'm going to put it there, so it's hiding the other one, and then we want to select that plane, and the background, and since the background was the last thing selected, then we can Control L and make link to the materials, so now these have white as well. So they will render like, if we just go to a rendered view, whoops, I want to push Z and rendered, you can see they nicely obscure the text. Okay, so let's make the text have that yellow, same as the box. So same thing, shift click them both, finally shift click the box, Control L materials. And we're just about ready to start animating. Now these obscuras, I'm calling them, are not long enough, so let's make them a little bit longer. I've gone in tab into edit mode, select that edge, and then GX to drag it over a bit. Okay, looking good. Before we do anything else, let's talk about a little bit of cleanup in the scene collections. So I'm just going to rename some things. So I'm on this plane here, that can be BG for background, and yeah, let's select all this stuff and put it under main. Keep your scene nice and clean, it's always a good practice. Let's talk about some animation. So what's going to happen is for the first maybe 5 frames I want nothing to happen really, so the viewer sort of sees a white background and knows what to expect. So after 5 frames of nothingness I want this square to be scaled down to 0. So S0 and then I, insert a scaling keyframe. Then let's take maybe 15 frames and I'm going to push N to bring up the transform panel, and let's grab these 3, so click and drag on those 3 and 1, and that should bring it back. It has not. Okay, it didn't do them for all 3. I don't know why that's probably a Blender 2.8 thing. Okay, so bring it back like that and then insert keyframes. Has that done it correctly? It has. Okay, good. I'm going to push T down here and use this dynamic effect back. So that's an interpolation. So you can see it scales up a little bit bigger than you would have liked and then goes back to where you like it. It's a nice little cartoony effect. Okay. Why? Okay, I must have scaled it down earlier in the not in edit mode. Disaster. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do just to fix this really quickly. So I'm in edit mode, tabbed into edit mode, A to select all, scale it down a bit. Okay, so we have that. Looks good. Okay, and now we just need to animate the text. Let's make this whole animation a little bit longer. Let's do like plus 30, make it 3 seconds total. So we'll give it a little bit of time to chill out like that, nothing will happen. And then let's insert a location for this first obscura. And then I'm just eyeballing this, let's say over about this much time, it will slide completely off to the side, even a little more, and insert location. Okay, and then let's go back to where that begins, 26. I want to select this square and insert location, and then to, where did we go to? To about 38. I want to move that over a little bit. Okay, insert location, and let's have a look at what we have. That comes along and that slides out. Looks good. Okay, so as it is revealed from the obscura moving away, the text also slides a little, and actually that starts touching the box, so we want to fix that up a little. Anyway, I'll leave that up to you guys. So I'm just going to quickly show one last technique, which is we want to have it rotate up. And so if I select this box, I will push, I've got a keyboard shortcut 6 to put the cursor in the middle there, and I'll make a new empty, and this will serve as our pivot point for rotating the text up. So if we go to, maybe again we want a little bit of time for nothing to happen in the animation, and then let's insert a rotation keyframe on this empty, and I need to parent the square to the empty, so Control P, keep transform, so it doesn't do anything immediately. Okay, so nothing happens for now, and then if I select just the empty, we want this rotation to be pretty fast, so maybe only a few frames like that. Y90, whoops, negative 90. Good, let's have a look at how that goes. So it looks like it will, where are we? It's not working. Why did that not work? Oh, I didn't insert a keyframe. Clever. Okay, Y negative 90 and insert rotation. Okay, back here and play. Yep, that flips up nice and fast. Now it goes off the top of the screen, so what do we need to do? We need to scale this down a bit. Yep, make sure I'm on the right thing. And so it's in between these frames. I'm going to start around here before, like after it's actually started rotating. I'm going to give it scaling, and then to here when it's finished rotating, scale it down like that, and insert scaling. Let's have a look. Nice. With a little bit of motion blur, that will look very good. Okay. So that's about it. I mean, I can quickly do the other text as well, but you guys get the idea. And so there's all kinds of things you can do with this tutorial. You could play around with colors. You could play around with bloom, maybe, yeah, all sorts. Use different fonts, use different animation timings, use different shapes for this. Use different interpolation. Try some of these ones like bounce or elastic. You could have a nice border around the outside. I mean, just go to your favorite website like Pinterest or ArtStation or something and get inspired, get ideas, and make something cool like this. Okay? Thank you very much, guys. Until next time, bye bye.